The decline of the dollar. The stronghold of the American government is falling to pieces. She has lost her prestige among the nations of the earth. One of the greatest powers of America was her dollar. The loss of such power will bring any nation to weakness, for this is the media of exchange between nations. The English pound and the American dollar have been the power and the beckoning light of these two great powers. But when the world went off the gold and silver standard, the financial doom of England and America was sealed. The pound has lost 50% of its value. America's dollar has lost everything now as power backing for her currency, which was once backed by gold for every $5 note and up. All of her currency was backed by silver from $1 note and up. Today, the currency of America is not backed by any sound value, silver or gold. The note today is something that the government declares it will give you the value in return, but does not name that value. They definitely are not backing their currency with silver or gold. This is the number one fall, and it is very clear that the loss of the power of the American dollar means the loss of the financial power of America. What will happen since there is no sound backing for her notes? We do not know. What should we expect even within the next 12 months under the fall of the power of America's dollar? This means that we have 100% inflation. What could happen under 100% inflation? Your guess is as good as mine. The power of gold and silver was once abundant in America, but the touch of the finger of God against the power of so mighty a nation has now caused the crumbling and fall of America. We can easily and truthfully liken the fall of America to the prophetic symbol picture given in the Bible Revelation of John 18:2. The name Babylon used there does not really say whether it is ancient Babylon or the picture of some future Babylon. The description it gives is as follows. And he, angel, cried mightily with a strong voice, with authority, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils. Allah has declared the people to be a race of devils, and the whole of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. The description here given to the Babylon and the prophets compares with the present history and people of America and their fall. The picture shows the cause of her fall. First, she had become the habitation of devils, making her a haven for every people that loved the works and doings of the devil. Here the prophet refers to them symbolically as being a hole of every foul spirit and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. People are referred to as birds, snakes, beasts, fish, and other animals to tell or represent the characteristics of that person. It is universally known that the very beginning of the American people was from the lower class of European people. This first ruler, President Washington, was a fugitive from England. The common, dissatisfied, and lower grade of the European people followed and boosted his authority. This filled and inhabited America with a very low class and low based people. Then this type of people went into Africa and purchased slaves, and from among our people, who were also uneducated, most of them, but there were a few who were very highly educated. All of them began to mix with the low-based, low-minded, real citizens of the Western Hemisphere, whites. When America began to get strong in power, she opened her doors to the underprivileged laborers in overpopulated countries such as China, Japan, and other European states to seek citizenship in America. This brought America into being one of the most mixed people who were granted the freedom to live any kind of life they chose. They were not forced to serve the God of the universe who made heaven and earth, or any religion. They had freedom to worship. This made America a haven for any people who wished to be free, and compelling aspects of religious and just rule and authority. This people, for the past 500 years, has put into practice every evil that is imaginable. The freedom of uncleanliness is granted and is worshiped. The percentage of sexual worship of the same sex is greater than in any other government on the face of the earth. Little children are being taught sex almost from the cradle, making the whole nation, as one man put it, nearly 90% freaks of nature. On the streets of any metropolitan city in America, it is common to see men sweethearting with men and women sweethearting with women, little boys with boys and little girls with girls. It is so common that a decent family is puzzled as to where to send their children for schooling. There is there are no all-girls schools as they once were. There are all-girls schools of sweethearts. The same sex falling upon their own. Boys' colleges are breeding such filthy practices, and jails, prisons, and the federal penitentiaries are all breeding dens of homosexuality. As the prophet says in the 8th chapter, she is a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. These are types of hateful birds. This is why a symbolic name is given. It means human beings. There are birds of prey and birds that are unclean, such as crows, owls, buzzards, and ravens, who live and thrive off the carcasses of others, and there are unclean people living and thriving off the unclean. It is time that God intervenes to bring about an end to such people as the wicked of America. She offers the same filth to all the civilized people of the earth, and she hates you if you are against her way of life and will threaten you with death, as the Sodomites did Lot and his followers. But I say to you, as the fourth verse of chapter 8 says, you that want to be better people than this, come out of her. The so called American Negroes are referred to here in the fourth verse as being God's people, my people. Come out of her, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. This is a call to the American so called Negroes to give up a doomed, wicked people that have destroyed them from being a people worthy of recognition, and who have now become lovers of their enemies and destroyers. The fifth verse tells us her sins have reached unto heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities and is ready to destroy her. Her destruction cometh quickly, according to the eighth verse. That plagues of death, mourning, and famines which cometh in one day, 1 year, and then after that she shall be destroyed by fire, utterly burned. This is backed up by these words: strong is the Lord God who judge her. Here it is. Here it gives us a knowledge of he who judges is well able with power, with wisdom, and with deliberate and careful maneuvering to give judgment against her.